Everyone is able to mix the water of a paraduma, the ashes of a paraduma with water. Everyone's able to do that. Lasuyimai, when it says everyone, who's it coming to include? Who's the fellow that's on the side that's saying everyone, even me? Who's that guy that's saying that? The Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's lasuyi katan. It's coming to include a child. A child can also mix the ashes with water. The Rabbanan lasuyi ishin, according to the rabbis, it's coming to include a woman. Well, where do we know this from? We're going to have to explain what just happened here. The Tanana was taught in the Mishnah, Kol Ksherim L'Kadish. The Mishnah says that everyone is able to mix the waters, the ashes with the waters, except for Chutz Mecher Sheitiv Katan, except for a deaf mute, someone that can't hear and speak, someone that's a shaita, an imbecile, and also a child. That's the first opinion. That's the Rabbanan. So the Rabbanan say a child can't do this. Rabbi Yehuda Machshir B'Katan. Rabbi Yehuda says that a child, yes, can do it. Upaisal B'Ishav Androginus, but he says a woman cannot. So now when we say Hakol Kasherim, we can have, according to Rabbi Yehuda, a woman. According to the Rabbanan, a woman. According to Rabbi Yehuda, a child. So who is the one that's on the side that's saying, even me? Who are you including when you say Hakol? So it depends according to who. But it's either a child or a woman. Hakol Kshem Lahazis. Everyone is able to sprinkle on someone that's tamei the waters of the paraduma to purify him. La Suyei Mai. Who's it coming to include? La Suyei Arel. Even someone that didn't have a bris. Why didn't he have a bris? Rashi says because he has hemophilia. Because his brothers died after the circumcision. Mesu echav machmas mila, because the blood doesn't clot. He has this problem with the bleeding, so therefore the third brother they don't do a bris on him. So it's not that he's sinning by not having it; he's an oral.
There has to be two before.
We hold betrays him now v'chazaka when it comes to misa, when it comes to life and death things would be just like katlanis, a woman that two husbands died.
Right.
The third, it's only two. So usually we say 3 times is a chazaka. But in certain areas we say 2 times is, it's machlekes Rabbi and his father, if it's 2 or 3 times is a chazaka. When it comes to certain things we say 2. Other areas we say 3. So Ukadu Rabbi Elazar. Like Rabbi Elazar says, usually Rabbi Elazar would be Rabbi Elazar ben Shemua, who's a student of Rabbi Akiva. If it's in a Braisa, it would be Rabbi Elazar ben Shemua, that's over here. Rabbi Eliezer, without any title, would be Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanes, the student of Rabbi Akiva. But if it's without a title and it's Rabbi Elazar, you can see through. See what I'm pointing at? Okay. Rabbi Elazar oral shehiza hazasik sheira, and this fits with Rabbi Elazar because someone that didn't have a bris is able to sprinkle. Hakol shaychtim. This we actually learned together in Chulin. Everyone, actually, it's interesting because it says twice Hakol Sheichtim. There's 2 Mishnayos in Chulin that started Hakol Sheichtim. One, the first Mishnah, and then again in Daf Tesvav, it said again Hakol Sheichtim. Lasuyim Mai, who's it coming to include? Over here it says, everyone can shech. Chada Lasuyi Kute. First one is coming to say that even a Kuti, a Samaritan, can shech. That was before they took away their status. Originally, they had a certain status, and then we took it away when we saw that they were idolaters. So then after that, they couldn't. And one is including a Jewish person that doesn't keep the halachas. Him you can trust to shech. I think if someone is watching, I think that's what we said. So two mishnayos are coming to include even a kuti can shech and Yisrael Mumar. I had one time this guy said, whose shchita was this? Wants to know. I said, this guy's shchita, it's not shchita. So what do you mean? What's your problem? Hakol Sheichne, it could be a kuti, it could be Yisrael Mumar. Why are you getting so... The worst case scenario, it's... Okay. Hakol Mailin, L'Eretz Yisrael, was a very interesting discussion. There's a conflict between a husband and wife if they're going to live in Israel or if they're going to live in Chutz La'aretz. So the one that says they want to live in Israel wins. Lasui Mai, who's it coming to include? This is an interesting case. Over here it says Lasui Avadim. A person has a slave and he wants to sell his slave. It's a slave, a non-Jewish slave that he's going to sell. See, a non-Jewish slave is partially Jewish. He circumcises him and he keeps the mitzvahs that a woman would be obligated to keep, like a Jewish person. He doesn't have to keep doesn't put on tefillin. That would be a mitzvah for a man. Probably doesn't study Torah. That would be a mitzvah for a man. But he has to keep all the other mitzvahs, Shabbos and Yom Tov and all of that. Now, you're selling him. He says, I want to be sold in Israel. So, we force the master to take him to Israel to sell him there.
Business school?
Wow.
No, on a donkey.
So Rabbi, so his status has changed forever. I mean, once he's let's say he's an Evan, he goes free, but he's
not going free. He's still being
saying he's a Jew.
Lamandatani avadim behedya.
That same slave, if he ran away to Israel, you can't send him back.
You can't send him back. That would also be an issue.
Wow.
But there's one source over there that says avadim clearly in the Mishnah. We're trying to include someone in the hakol. So if it says it clearly, then it's not included in the hakol that you said clearly. We're looking for who's the person on the side that says even me. You're including me when you said everyone. Lasui, according to him, Lasui Mai. It says Lasui minava hayafa lenava hara. Here it's talking about that if you have a very nice house outside the land of Israel, a nice dwelling place, and you have a very poor, not nice place to live in Israel. So,
It's usually the case.
So, the wife doesn't want to go. She wants a nicer place.
Mm-hmm.
So nevertheless, in that scenario, you can also force the wife to move to Israel, even though it's not so nice there.
Wow.
And not everyone can force the one to leave Israel. Lasui Eved Shebarach. This is coming to include a slave that ran away. Michutz La'aretz. How do you read this? What's the Bais? Lasui Eved Shebarach Michutz La'aretz. A slave that ran from outside the land of Israel to Israel. You don't force him back outside the land to leave Israel. He made it into Israel. You can't force him back to his master outside. That's what it's coming to include. Hakol Mailan Yerushalayim, the same discussion that we had between outside the land of Israel and Israel, we also have between living outside Yerushalayim to living in Yerushalayim. Lasuye, this is coming to include Minava Yafa Linava Rav. Someone has a nice house outside of Yerushalayim. Where? Rechavia? Where?
It's also the case.
That's in Yerushalayim. No, it's not. We're talking probably the old city. So, Linava Rav to a poor, not a nice dwelling in Yerushalayim. Even such a situation, you still force him to go. But you can't force him to leave. That's Lasuye Mai. What's that coming to include? Lasuye Minava Ra Linava Yafa. It's coming to include, even if you're going to a nicer place outside, you can't force him to leave. Kol Chayavim B'Sukkah. Next case, everyone's obligated to dwell in a sukkah, eat, sleep, do all the activities in a sukkah. Kayanim Leviim v'Yisraelim. A Kayan a Levi in Yisrael. Gemara says Pshita. Well, you just said every type of Jew. What do you mean? You have to. Which one is not in that category that you had to say everyone? Ihani loy mechayvi. If one of those, if these are not chayiv, man mechayvi, then who is chayiv? The Gemara says no. Kayanim etzrichalei. The chiddush here is the kayanim. That kayanim also have to sleep in the sukkah. They have to eat in the sukkah. The minhag was in Chabad was not to sleep in the sukkah for whatever reason. There's Heterim in Shulchan Aruch or whatever. It could be there was things that weren't. It wasn't
That's what I was.
And then there's Kabbalistic interpretations as well, why it worked out practically like that. But in temple times, of course, would be on the level, and so everyone would be obligated to do everything in the sukkah. But kayanim, it's necessary to say this. Why sal kedait chamina could enter your mind to say hayol v'ksiv, because it says basukis teishvu, in a sukkah you should dwell. V'amar mar, and the master taught teishvu shivas yamim ken taduru, that you dwell the way that you live. Ma'adira, just like the way that you live. Ishvi ishtei is a man with his wife. Af sukkah ishvi ishtei. Also in the sukkah it should be a man with his wife. The only problem is v'hani kayanim, but a kayan, hayol b'nei avaydininu, a kayan needs to be pure. He's going to serve in the temple. It's not supposed to be with his wife. So leila chayvu. You should say that maybe a kayan doesn't have to dwell in the sukkah because he's not going to be with his wife and he's not really living there. A kayan has to be serving in the temple. So he can't live in the sukkah really. It can't be a real dwelling in the sukkah. So maybe we would say that the kayan's not chayiv in sukkah. Kamash malan, it comes to teach us, nihi de patri b'shas avayda. Although that he's pater at the time of serving in the temple, but if he's not serving in the temple, you go back to the sukkah. You don't have a card that says I'm exempt because I'm a kayan. You can have a card that says I'm exempt because it's my time to serve in the temple. Just like someone that's traveling. Someone that's traveling by day is exempt from the sukkah by day. But at night he's not traveling, so he has to go to the sukkah.
So what's the logic for treating a sukkah differently than a home, any home? The Kohanim during the rest of the year lived in their homes until they came for the Avodah, for their mishmar.
It's interesting because the actual exemption that we have in Shulchan Aruch, why we don't sleep in the sukkah, in areas that it's not comfortable and all of that, what's the excuse? The excuse is because the women are exempt from the sukkah. And a married person usually sleeps together with his wife in the same room. He can leave the wife in one room and he goes to another room. That's not
a good idea.
I knew a couple that lived like that, but that's a story. That's not the norm. So because the wife is exempt, she's going to be inside, and a person has to live in the sukkah the way that he lives normally. So therefore, a married person wouldn't have to sleep in the sukkah because his wife is inside. His wife doesn't have to sleep outside because she's exempt. Here we're saying that that the kayan can't live with his wife in the sukkah because he can't be with his wife because he has to serve in the temple. So he should be exempt from sukkah entirely. We say no, he's not entirely. If he's serving in the temple, he's exempt. He's not really dwelling there because he's lacking that part of dwelling. Hakol chayavim b'tzitzis. Everyone is obligated. We'll go a drop further here. Hakol chayavim b'tzitzis. Everyone is obligated in tzitzis. Kayanim, Leviim, Yisraelim. We have exactly the same issue. So we did a little shift here. Before we were learning with the word hakol, now we're discussing why did you enumerate Kayanim, Leviim, Yisraelim. It's obvious. Those are the Jewish people. We said, so pshita. That's obvious. And again, if these are not chayiv, then who is chayiv? It says, no, kayanim it's strichli. It's necessary to say that kayanim are chayiv and tzitzis. Why? Salka dait chamina. This is a really interesting discussion here. Could have entered your mind to say differently. Hayel. What's hayel? Sins. Right? Uksiv, it's written, Leisil b'shatnes, don't wear wool and linen together. And in the same pasuk it says, Gedilim tasalacha, you should make fringes on your garment. Don't wear wool and linen. Make fringes on your garment. That's the same. That's one sentence.
The kohen has to wear.
So mandalay yishtri klayim, the one that's not allowed to wear shatnez, legabei, belevisha, who the mechai mitzvah tzitzis. Someone mandalay yishtri klayim legabei belevisha. Someone that's not allowed to wear wool and linen together. He has the mitzvah of putting on tzitzis. That pasuk, who's that referring to? Don't wear shatnez, but wear tzitzis. That someone that's not allowed to wear shatnez has to wear tzitzis. V'hani kayanim, but kayanim, hayol v'yistri kalayim legabai, because they're allowed to wear shatnez. This wasn't referring to them. Why? Because in the gartel that a kayan has, there's shatnez. The pasuk isn't referring to him. So leila chayvu, he shouldn't have to keep tzitzis. The sentence isn't referring to him. Kamash Mana comes to teach us, Nehi derishteri be'idan avoda, exactly like we said before. Although, at the time, be'idan is at the time in Aramaic. At the time of service, he's exempt from the mitzvah of shatnez, from the prohibition of shatnez. He's allowed to wear shatnez on his gartel, but be'idan avoda le'yeshtri. But if it's not the time of the service, he's not exempt.
That was the only place.
But he's not. He's obligated to keep those laws, and he's not allowed to wear shatnez, and therefore he's obligated to wear.
So the gartel was the only garment that he wore with shatnez.
Yeah.
Wait, are they wearing tzitzis at that time?
At the time of service, he wasn't.
They
He's
don't
exempt.
wear tzitzis during the
Maybe the Kohen Gadol on the meal. I don't know exactly, but in
Never
all the
looked.
pictures, they didn't have tzitzis there. Should we stop here? Let's stop here so we can prepare. We're up to tefillin.
Yeah.